Hey guys, how you going? Everyone mentioned today is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law, and everything I discuss here is theory until proven fact, even if it is. Hey guys, how you going? Okay, let's get into it. Oh dear. Okay. Oh my goodness, my mouse is still playing up. Okay, this is from Katie. Here's our Prime Minister. What did we do to deserve this? Oh, wait till you see this garbage. Australians have a cost of living problem. And our Prime Minister? Here he is here. You goose. Can't even go the right way. Oh my God, how embarrassing. Okay. The rubber duck said if X goes down for good along with the rest of the internet for an extended period of time, which is what I pray for every night before I go to bed, know that the honour to serve and inform you was always mine. What does TRD mean? Okay. Someone can let me know if you know what it means. But if it does, look, if X goes down along with the rest of the internet for an extended period of time, just know that we're all still here in the background. We're watching as well. We're all watching together, still. Even if we can't communicate, we're still watching it all together. Rosita Diaz said, I'm crying. Kevin Rudd's been named in the Epstein files. Rudd calls in the lawyers over mention in Jeffrey Epstein's emails. So our ambassador to the United States, Kevin Rudd, the one that Trump had not heard of and who said bad things about Trump and said it's all right, he probably doesn't like him either. He's been caught up in the Epstein files, as if we didn't know. Okay, Katie said, my question is, where are our taxes going? The state of the roads. From this line here, right, up, built by the Romans 4,000 years ago. Look at it, right? This here, built by the council 4 weeks ago, and the lightest bit of rain, and it happens again. The old hole opens up again. So look at this. Unbelievable. 4,000 years ago, 4 weeks ago. There's something wrong with our countries when they can't even fix the roads. That's because they're all skimming money out of it. Taxes aren't going to where people think they go, and they never did. Chicago One Ray said 18 USC 2837, sedition covers knowingly urging, advising, counselling members of the armed forces to disobey lawful orders. Raise your hand if you want Judge Janine and US Addy Pirro to bring charges of sedition on every one of these traitors. Let her hear from you. What's going on here?
I'm Senator Alyssa Slotkin.
Senator Mark Kelly.
Representative Chris DeLuzio.
Congresswoman Maggie Goodlander.
Representative Chrissy Houlihan.
Congressman Jason Crow. I was a captain in the United States Navy.
Former CIA officer.
Former Navy.
Former paratrooper and Army Ranger.
Former intelligence officer.
Former Air Force.
We want to speak directly to members of the military
And the intelligence community.
Who take risks each day
To keep Americans safe.
We know you are under enormous stress and pressure right now.
Americans trust their military.
But that trust is at risk.
This administration is pitting our uniformed military,
And intelligence community professionals.
against American citizens.
like us. You all swore an oath.
To protect and defend this Constitution.
Right now, the threats to our Constitution aren't just coming from abroad.
But from right here at home.
Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You must refuse illegal orders.
No one has to carry out orders that violate the law.
Or our Constitution.
We know this is hard.
And that it's a difficult time to be a public servant.
But whether you're serving in the CIA,
In the Army,
Our Navy,
The Air Force.
Your vigilance is critical.
and know that we have your back.
because now, more than ever,
The American people need you.
We need you to stand up for our laws.
our Constitution,
And who we
Wow. knowingly urging, advising, counselling members of the armed forces to disobey lawful orders. Does that also apply to Candace Owen, who said that military people should just go AWOL and not serve in the military anymore? Very interesting, isn't it? I don't know. But anyway, that's
Senator Alyssa Slotkin.
Senator Mark Kelly.
Representative
Sedition. That's what that is. Okay, retards down under. On behalf of Australia, thank you, Jim Jordan, for dragging our retarded safety commissioner in front of Congress, because she has been subpoenaed, I believe, to the US Congress, our e-safety Karen, Julian Mann Grant, because it is affecting this free speech of Americans as well. Nothing to see here, said it was all bait. Trump kept acting like he was resisting the files to be released, because the more he resisted, the more that people believed he was in them and the more they called for their release. He expended their time, energy and ammo on that so he could concentrate on other things unnoticed. And in the end, he accomplished giving them enough rope to hang themselves with. Watch. I agree. And C3 said there's a transferry and mental illness violence epidemic. The media and Biden administration hid it from America. And this is what I'm wondering, okay? Just say these kids maybe have been on ADHD medication. I don't know if they have, okay? I'm just spitballing here, theorising, okay? It's pure theory. No fact in it at all. But I would love to speak to Dr. Timmy about this. What happens if you're on, say, antidepressants or antipsychotics, and then you decide you're a trans and you get medication to also change your hormones? We know that the medication that changes males' hormones to female estrogen, or estrogen, however you want to call it, we know that that has bad effects on men. They tend to become violent. Okay, now what would happen if also they had been on antidepressants or antipsychotics for most of their life? I would like to know. Because I also think even if it's just the hormone therapy, it's a huge problem. It is a huge problem. And it has been known to cause violence in the men who take estrogen. Okay, Mick Amias said Australia's e-safety commissioner, Julian Mann Grant's been called to appear before US Congress within the next 2 weeks due to global takedown orders that have now threatened Americans' First Amendment rights. Can this woman embarrass our country any further? She's been called to testify before US Congress by Donald Trump ally over threat to Americans' free speech. Good. Go, guys. Get her. You get her. And Trump was asked, or the prince of whatever his name, Saudi Arabia, was asked by a reporter about Khashoggi's murder. Okay, let's see. Do they have it here? Yeah. OSINT defender said absolutely disgusting insinuation by President Trump appearing to suggest that Khashoggi, a journalist, was controversial. Well, he was, you idiot. Now, let's see. Khashoggi's murder was a setup to alienate the Crown Prince on the world stage. If you don't know who the Khashoggis are, Adnan Khashoggi, Jeffrey Epstein's sole financial client, and the CIA's favourite gun runner, then you are not very well read on this stuff. Khashoggi was not a journalist. He was a public commentator who leveraged his family ties to the CIA and MI6 to get his shitty op-eds published in CIA's media platforms like the Washington Post. Enough with the pearl clutching. Yep. That's exactly right. Khashoggi was a spy, and probably a double spy at that, maybe even more for many countries. Who knows? But not only that, Jeffrey Epstein's sole financial client, the CIA's favourite gun runner. Okay. Oilfield Rando said Jamal Khashoggi was a mouthpiece for a political organisation that wanted to legalise husbands beating and raping their wives, and the woke journalism class thinks he's a saint. WAPO gave him a byline. It's wild, okay? In the Oval Office, Yashar Ali said in the Oval Office, President Trump suggested that Jamal Khashoggi may have deserved to be assassinated or at least should not have been a sympathetic figure, and then says that the Saudi Crown Prince was unaware in advance of the assassination plot. Trump's own intelligence agencies concluded that MBS was aware in advance of the plot. Even if that weren't the case, some of MBS's closest aides were unquestionably involved in that plot, and it would have been virtually impossible for MBS not to be aware of it in advance. Yes, well, he was a mouthpiece. There you go. He wanted to legalise. Is a Muslim, okay? That's what he is. So let's hear Donald Trump.
As far as this gentleman is concerned, he's done a phenomenal job. You're mentioning somebody that was extremely controversial. A lot of people didn't like that gentleman that you're talking about. Whether you like him or didn't like him, things happen. But he knew nothing about it, and we can leave it at that. You don't have to embarrass our guest by asking a question like that.
It's okay, just you ask, Mr. President,
please,
you allow me to answer. You know, I feel painful about, you know, the families of 9/11 in America, but, you know, we have to focus on reality. Reality based on CIA documents and based on a lot of documents that...
As far as this gentleman is concerned...
Okay, there you go. Clandestine said this clip is extremely important to understand why Trump bombed Iran's nuclear facilities. Trump made a deal with King Solomon and MBS to work together to bring peace to the Middle East. They all agreed that Iran cannot have nuclear weapons, and the US military were the only ones who could successfully do what we did with the B-2 bombers, now bunker busters. This was the plan all along. It was not just Israel who did not want Iran to have a nuclear weapon. Neither did the Saudis, Qatar, UAE, etc. Even Russia and China turned their backs on Iran and agreed to stand down while Trump neutralised their nuclear capabilities, which was actually Obama's creation via the Iran deal. Do you remember the pallets of cash that Obama sent to Iran many years ago? This is also why the peace deal in the Middle East will not fail, because the leaders of the region and the entire Arab Muslim world already agreed that the fighting must stop. The deal was made long ago. We're just witnessing the rollout. Trump and MBS are allies in this global shadow war and Game of Thrones. I've never seen the Game of Thrones, so I wouldn't know. Okay, Clandestine said the world doesn't know it yet, but the relationship between Trump and MBS will be remembered as the alliance that changed the world. Think the sword dance of 2017. Remember that? They don't do that for just anyone who turns up. A month after Trump's visit, King Solomon rescinded the crown from Mohammed bin Nayef in favour of MBS. This led to the infamous Saudi corruption purge of 2017 and consolidation of power money within the Saudi royal family. Nayef and his faction were essentially neutralised. This is why is this significant to the US? Because in 2015, Trump himself accused the Nayef faction via Prince Al-Walid bin Talal of buying controlling US politicians. Trump, along with King Solomon and MBS, took out the corrupt faction within the Saudi royal family, which we've known for years, and have been working together ever since to create a new world and peaceful Middle East, which included neutralising Iran's nuclear capabilities. And the world had no idea it was happening. Well, some of us did. Some of us knew something was happening. Okay? We knew that when they took the, that they were cleaning up the Saudi royal family. We knew that when they gave them that sword dance, that they don't do that for just anyone. Now, Red Eagle Politics said yesterday MAGA was dead and Trump was a traitor, but Trump danced around bad faith questions about me. So let me try and weasel my way back into the movement for 48 hours before I start calling him a Jewish pedo again. Effing scumbags, the lot of them. Nick Fuentes was saying MAGA's dead, and now because President Trump said that Tucker Carlson should be able to interview Nick Fuentes, and they should be able to. It's free speech. Nick Fuentes is saying, thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, now watch. He'll be back on the Trump's Jewish, paid, Jewish-led. Okay, whatever. He's not, but hey, keep thinking that. Paul Azabula said Rep. Marjorie Taylor Greene continues to lob baseless attacks against President Trump. Whoop. and falsely claim he's tearing MAGA apart. MAGA's doing better than ever. It's MTG's career that's now collapsing. She has exposed herself as a traitor. And she has. Vince Langman said, oh, look, Marjorie Taylor Greene is attacking President Trump on the floor of Congress. Her transformation into 40-point loser Liz Cheney is complete. Some saying she's become the next AOC. Others say she's become the next Liz Cheney. And this is funny. Eric Doherty said, breaking, a desperate Zoran Mandami stunned supporters by stating things can't actually be free, begging for more money to fund his transition after $1 million that's been raised. Every communist is a professional swindler. New Yorkers got scammed big time. Oh, dear. Oh, you've got to be kidding. That's funny. Okay, Drogo said, today we learned Thomas Matthew Crooks had a PayPal account operated under the name of a senior FBI agent. Now, Thomas Matthew Crooks was the potential Trump assassin. PayPal has very tight security, but it was just an alias. Totally normal stuff, nothing to see here. Interesting. So he had a PayPal account under the name of a senior FBI agent. Yeah. Yep, Benny Johnson said, if the FBI wants the trust of the American people, they must release everything on Thomas Crooks. The case has hundreds of agents assigned, thousands of tips, 500,000 files, and yet we're learning from journalists that Crooks went by they, them pronouns, was possessed with furries, and was exploring gender identity. The truth has come from the FBI first, not from leaks or journalists. Has to come from the FBI first, not from leaks or journalists. Yeah, it would help if they're just honest. Americans deserve the full picture, his radicalisation, online habits and outside influences. Be transparent, release it all. That's the only way to restore trust. And I agree. Look, I don't trust a lot of people, right? And even Benny's one I don't fully trust, okay? Benny Johnson. But when I agree with him, I will let you know. You know, I'll read out their posts. I will agree with them. Some people's posts I read out because I don't agree with it, but mostly I'm reading them out because I agree. Okay, with what's being said. N. Workner said, breaking, Trump gunman Thomas Crooks used they them pronouns, obsessed with furries, according to the New York Post. Okay. Yep, he was exploring gender identity. Add to the list, Charlie Kirk's assassin, Tyler Robinson, had a furry obsession and lived with transgender boyfriend. Annunciation, Catholic church shooter identified as trans. Nashville Christian shooter identified as trans. Lakewood church shooter identified as trans. Colorado Springs shooter identified as non-binary. Denver shooter identified as trans. Aberdeen shooter identified as trans. And Iowa high school shooter trans activist. Radical gender ideology is pushing unstable individuals towards violence and targeting innocent people. Trans violence is an epidemic and the threat is escalating. And why do I have a feeling that these kids were either on something before they thought they had become trans and then probably was on other medication on top of it then to trans them? I don't know. We need to know their medical history too. What were they actually on? Because I'm pretty sure that a lot of those medications aren't going to work very well together. Okay, Awakened Outlaw said, if you don't know that Trump's been channeling the teachings of Sun Tzu as outlined in the book The Art of War, which serves as a backbone for his book The Art of the Deal, then you haven't been paying attention. When the hammer falls, and it will fall, it's truly going to be something to behold. Most everything we've been witnessing up to date as things build to a head, big picture represents the setup. Let your plans be dark and impenetrable as night, and when you move, fall like a thunderbolt. Sun Tzu. There you go. Very interesting. It's getting very interesting, guys. I'm not panicked at all. I hope you're not either. Stay calm, hold the line. It's going as it should. As told by Q. Stand Up for Trump said, breaking, President Trump has proposed cutting foreign aid by 75%, slashing the State Department's budget by 50% and eliminating funding for the United Nations, NATO, and over 20 international organisations. Do you support this? Hell yeah. I do. I'm not even in America, but for the American people, definitely. You need to look after America and the American people, and Trump knows this. MAGA was America first. So these America first parties, are just trying to take away from MAGA. But MAGA always was America first. That's why Make America Great Again. Yeah. Putting Americans first. Okay, Elon Musk, who I don't always agree with either, said exactly. Bradford Ferguson said if throwing money at problems actually solved them, governments would have accidentally fixed everything by now just from sheer volume. And I've said this before, throwing money at a problem doesn't work. It never does. It then probably creates more jobs for more bureaucrats. That's what it mostly does, according to our government anyway. It doesn't work. You have to value the money. When it's given, a lot of people don't value it. But when it's earned, then you value it. X22 reports said, remember when Elon said Trump was in the Epstein files a few months ago and Trump downplayed the files? Then Democrats started begging for the release of the files? Fast forward to today and Democrats aren't setting Tesla dealerships on fire, and we're about to find out what's actually in the Epstein files because Trump has ordered the release of the Epstein files, okay? So for anyone saying, oh, Trump's on it, Trump's his best mate, no, he wasn't. In fact, Jeffrey Epstein hated Trump and was working out ways to try and stop Trump from winning. Lozzie B said, breaking, Bad Batten is no longer the opposition leader of the Victorian Liberal Party here in Australia. This lady's going to replace him. They're literally making themselves unelectable. This woman's never had a real job. She's been a Labor cheerleader, what do they call it? Never had a real job anyway. Brad Batten had been a police officer. He had a business. But hey, kick him out and so they're no different. Now the Liberal Party is really getting no different. Like all the good people they had in there are being thrown out. C3 said if there was anything incriminating in the Epstein documents, why did Jamie Raskin need to steal the Ghislaine Maxwell attorney documents? Exactly. I didn't know Jamie Raskin stole the Ghislaine Maxwell attorney documents. Sorry. Had a bit of a hiccup. Something happened there. Q the Storm said Epstein's own biographer just admitted on CNN what many of us have known for years. Epstein suspected that the dog hasn't barked was Trump, meaning he believed Trump secretly alerted Palm Beach authorities in 2004 about the trafficking network long before the media ever touched it. Levine said Epstein was 75% convinced Trump was the whistleblower, especially after the fallout over Ghislaine recruiting girls from Mar-a-Lago and a nasty real estate battle that turned them into enemies. Think about that. While Democrats, Hollywood intelligence assets and the entire elite class were protecting Epstein, Trump may have been the one informing on him. The question now is why is the establishment terrified of this truth coming out? Why is CNN suddenly allowed to mention it? The more you dig, the darker it gets, and the closer we get to the centre. There you go. It's getting very interesting, guys, because what the Democrats think, every time they think they've got Trump on something, right, it turns on them. Now, this was some comedy. MJ Truth Ultra said, what? Lol. Professor Hunter Biden explains why his father didn't release the Epstein files when in office. It wasn't written into the US Constitution. What?
There's the whole argument, okay, like why do Democrats all of a sudden care about Jeffrey Epstein when they could have done X, Y, or Z? Mm. Well, your dad, your dad should have, released
the files.
Here's the thing. My dad was president of the United States, and like the 44 of the 45 people that preceded him, other than Richard Nixon, who left office because of it, he does not and did not direct his attorney general or to the Department of Justice to do anything as it related to any criminal matter for any citizen or individual or anyone inside of the United States. He just didn't, because that was the norm. That was not necessarily written into the Constitution, but that was the way in which we have operated for close to 250 years. That's why he didn't. That's why his administration didn't. That's why his White House counsel didn't, because nobody is doing what Donald Trump is doing, directly the prosecution of people around him. So his followers who came into office.
Yeah, yous were all protecting each other. That's why I'd been going on like that for years and years, and that's the way you've always done it, because you're all protecting each other. And Trump, is doing something different, all right. He's giving the American people what they want.
Being promised their followers, MAGA, on all of the people that cared about this, that they were going to release everything.
That's what I was about to say. Like, why make that promise if you know you're in the files?
Because he knew he was in the files. They didn't know he was in the files, because he's full of shit, and every second word that comes out of his mouth is a lie.
Oh, yeah, that's a real good reason, mate. Oh, my God, that just hurt my brain. MJ Truth Ultra said Hunter Biden getting high. Expert claims Elon Musk was obviously on drugs when he allegedly gave a Nazi salute on stage. Biden attributes this behaviour to Musk's parents either telling him he's unlovable or abusing him. I think he's projecting here. I'm not going to play it because this man sounds insane. Just from the first clip, I can't handle listening to it. It's breaking my brain. Trying to go to his way of thinking. I don't know. Okay, and this was a couple of days ago. Wow. Okay, we're getting into 4 days ago now. Again, oh my God, Nick Fuentes is saying Trump and Epstein had Thanksgiving together, which has been debunked. Stop lying. Trump's Mar-a-Lago Thanksgiving, okay, in 2017. Weirdos. I don't think Nick Fuentes should be censored either. I think he should be allowed to say whatever he wants to say, as long as he's not doing anything illegal in that speech, like threatening or inciting, you know. But hey, DSWare123 said breaking Epstein file explosion. President Trump just dropped the hammer. Epstein was a Democrat, and he's the Democrats' problem, not the Republicans' problem. AG Pam Bondi has already designated a special prosecutor to investigate Democratic ties to Jeffrey Epstein. The truth's coming out. No more cover-ups. Oh. Let's have a listen here. What's this one?
A frustrated President Trump is hoping to turn a news cycle about Jeffrey Epstein on its head, posting today, Epstein was a Democrat and he is the Democrats' problem, not the Republicans' problem. Ramping things up further, the president writes, I will be asking Attorney General Pam Bondi and the Department of Justice, together with our great patriots at the FBI, to investigate Jeffrey Epstein's involvement and relationship with Bill Clinton, Larry Summers, Reid Hoffman, J.P. Morgan Chase, and many other people and institutions to determine what was going on with them and him. This is another Russia scam with all arrows pointing to the Democrats.
Yep. It's exactly right, which I said the other day. Real Robert said, here it is. Senior DOJ Epstein investigator drops the bomb. Confirms Jeffrey Epstein was CIA. Confirms rapes occurred while Bill Clinton was on the plane. Confirms President Trump is protecting a lot of other people. He's not protecting himself because there's nothing there. Glenn Prager said they claim that Trump's involvement in the rapes and all that stuff. He wasn't. I mean, I've seen the agendas. I've seen the itineraries. I've interviewed all the victims. There's never been an instance where Trump was on a plane with these kids and that occurred. But it can't be said for Clinton and it can't be said for others. I remember that Epstein list was being killed because I know Clintons were on there. 100% while Bill Clinton was on the plane, there were rapes that occurred. And that's what I'm saying. Trump, although as many flights as there were and all that kind of stuff and on the island and all that stuff, Trump was never there during a single alleged rape. But Bill Clinton for sure. But Clinton for sure. And that's where the big cover-up was. During his tenure at DOJ, Mr. Prager served as inspector overseeing sensitive investigations involving major DOJ components, including the FBI, DEA, Bureau of Prisons, U.S. Marshal Service, ATF, and the U.S. Attorney's offices. Prager appeared to start his tenure with the DOJ in 2005. That's very interesting. And this one, and this is where I'm going to stop because I'm getting too far back. Overton said Scott Jennings just flipped the script on a frantic attorney who tried to spin the Epstein emails as a Trump scandal. Stacey Schneider insisted the release was somehow devastating for Trump, but Scott Jennings didn't let that fantasy survive for more than a few seconds. Schneider said his connections to Epstein, as shown in those emails, according to Epstein, is unsavoury and it's not good for him. Jennings fired back with a series of hammer blows to her entire narrative. Jennings said, is that new information that he knew Jeffrey Epstein? Is it new information that Trump excommunicated him from Mar-a-Lago? Then he dropped the real headline. The only new information that we got this week of those emails was that somebody from the New York Times was advising Jeffrey Epstein, and we learned tonight from the Washington Post that Jeffrey Epstein was programming Democratic members of Congress. We didn't learn anything we didn't already know about Donald Trump, which was other than Jeffrey Epstein hated Donald Trump, and now Democrats are aligning themselves with Jeffrey Epstein because Orange Man bad. Okay? So, yeah, she got put in her place. Something else I was going to mention. Tony said, am I the only one that finds it funny every time the Democrats are losing leverage, they bring up the Epstein files? But then when motions get filed to declassify the documents, they run quickly to block that motion? Mm-hmm. And yes, Candace does owe her fame to Trump, yet she betrayed him. Same with MTG. Used him, then turned. Candace stabbed Charlie Kirk in the back too. No character, no Jesus. Church attendance doesn't fool anyone. And it doesn't. And she wanted to be part of Trump's team, but they didn't want her. Now you've got Crowder going after Candace. Okay. Oh, yeah, remember when they told us that preventing Iran... Remember, yeah, all these people, okay? I want to show you all these people thought that we were going to war with Iran when they didn't know what was happening. So Candace Owens, who knows everything, didn't even know what was going on, okay?
Okay. 6 months in, Steve, and here we are, turning back on the campaign promises, and we bombed Iran. We're entering a nuclear war, the World War III.
World War III, and I hate to say that we told you so.
Donald Trump is dragging us into potentially a World War III.
This has been the most obvious and the most planned war in the history.
And we're not the only ones. A lot of people saw it coming.
I don't know if they're trying to get...
Really? A lot of us saw that it wasn't going to happen. Okay? Well, no, actually not a lot, but a few of us saw that that was not going to happen. Trying to tell people to calm down, and yet no, everyone's listening to these people. Just listen to them. They know. They know. Who am I? Eh? I don't know anything.
Get us into a war with Iran or not.
Donald Trump telling them to come back to the negotiating table now is a joke.
Statesmanship and diplomacy take a lot of hard work.
Major breaking news. President Trump says the U.S. has bombed 3 nuclear sites in Iran.
President Trump delivers on his threat to use American firepower to bomb Iran nuclear sites.
Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated.
Okay. 6 months in.
Okay. Yep, they did. Okay, anyway, guys, I'm going to leave it there for today with that. And I shall make videos for the next... Oh, I'll make a video tomorrow. Today's Thursday here, isn't it? Yep. I'll make another video tomorrow. I'll be live Saturday and Sunday this week. Hopefully get to see you there. Okay, have a good morning, afternoon or evening, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.